Getting succulents to grow as colorful as possible can be a real challenge and often not something we can control. But there are things we can do, and I found a perfect example in my garden to demonstrate how position and exposure to the sun really matter when it comes to succulents. I will show you 4 plants that have the same parent and are the same age. They are planted in 4 different parts of the garden. The plant is called Colourful ovata red coral. It is a shrubby succulent with amazing variegation that can come in shades of yellow, green, red and orange. It's really amazing. This one here is the most colorful out of the 4 as it is planted in full sun. It is properly hardened off and does not suffer burns even during hot days over 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit. The color is mostly yellow with a hint of green and reddish around the tips. While it is the most colorful, it is also the smallest. The color in succulents come from being stressed, and because of this, these succulents usually grow a bit smaller and slower as they need to conserve energy. In some cases, stressed equals bad, as not all succulents can handle full sun at all times, especially during extreme weather like heat waves. In this case, however, the plant is growing well as Colourful ovata species are usually super hardy and can survive the tough conditions. Moving on to the plant number 2, this red coral is planted in the same garden bed 10 meters away from the first one. It gets a bit more shade in the afternoon thanks to the bushes and the tall trees that block the hottest western sun. As a result, the green is more prevalent and the red around the tips faded. Plant number 3 is in a garden bed that has been under construction for a while. I always run out of time to finish it. This spot is a bit tricky as it is shaded and quite dark in winter but exposed to the hot afternoon sun in summer. What this can do to some plants is cause burns when the hot summer sun suddenly starts hitting the leaves that are accustomed to shade. And this is exactly what happened here. All of these dense trees hide the sun completely in winter, resulting in the red coral growing wider leaves that were not used to being in the sun. The summer sun passes overhead for about 5 hours in the afternoon when it's the hottest and causes these brown burn marks. Here in Australia it can get pretty toasty in summer, and 40 degrees Celsius or 104 Fahrenheit is not that unusual. On the whole, this plant receives even less sun than plant number 2, but at the wrong time. It is also a tad less colorful and the leaves are much greener. Some leaves have hardly any yellow or red in it. Despite the afternoon roasting, this red coral has grown more than the previous 2 plants as it is not as stressed by all-day sun. Its leaves are bigger and there are more of them. Stressed plants can lose leaves quite easily. This is a coping mechanism that will see them concentrate energy into fewer leaves that will be smaller but chubbier. And finally, plant number 4. This plant is hidden amongst bigger bushes and receives little direct sun. The bigger trees block a lot during winter too. As you can see, there's very little color going on in this red coral. Half of the plant is growing underneath a Westringia bush and the difference is staggering. The leaves are almost exclusively green and very wide. The other half in comparison is much more colorful and compact. It is almost possible to see the spot where the sun cuts off for this red coral. If all of a sudden I cut down the bushes around, the leaves would burn badly. It is quite interesting to see how just a slight variation in sun exposure can change the color, speed of growth and the overall look of a succulent, and I guess many other plants too. And that's it for today. I hope you found this video useful, and if you'd like more succulent related content, hit the subscribe button or visit our website succulentgrowingtips.com. My nursery also sells this particular succulent as a small plant, and if you live in Australia, it can be purchased at fernfarmplants.com.au. Thank you very much for watching.